In this video, we are going to look at the 5 most mysterious UFO encounters that have yet to be explained. Number 5. Friday Night Lights in Texas. Lubbock Lights. On the night of August 25, 1951, a group of professors and scientists at Texas Technical College, or Texas Tech, were hanging out having drinks outside, when shortly after 9 p.m. a large cluster of bluish-green lights passed overhead in what appeared to be a V-shaped formation. Soon after, the same group of minds witnessed another wave of lights. Less than a week later, on the night of August 30th, a freshman at Texas Tech named Carl Hart Jr. saw a light cluster flying overhead in a V formation. Hart went home and grabbed his camera and was prepared if the lights returned. Just like with the scientists on August 25th, another wave of lights passed by Hart's house, and this time he was able to capture the cluster in a series of photos. The Air Force's Project Blue Book investigated the photos and confirmed that they were not altered in any way, so a hoax was ruled out. Stephenville Sightings. In January of 2008, dozens of residents in the small Texas town of Stephenville reported seeing very bright lights moving slowly across the night sky. Retired pilot Steve Allen reported the object as being bigger than a Walmart at half a mile wide and 1 mile long, with bright, strobing lights, and didn't make a sound. Allen said that he saw F-16s chase the object, and then it flew across the night sky at 3,000 miles per hour. The military quickly denied chasing any flying object that night, and said that the town is letting their imaginations get the best of them. Number 4. Washington Flap. Throughout late July of 1952, D.C. natives witnessed a string of sightings that sent the country into a frenzy. It all started on July 19th, when Edward Nugent, an air traffic controller at now Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, spotted 7 objects on radar that were flying where no known aircraft were currently flying. Nugent said the objects were making radical maneuvers in comparisons to typical aircraft. Senior air traffic controller Harry Barnes would later verify Nugent's claims, saying that something strange was going on. 2 controllers in the airport's radar-equipped control tower further confirmed Nugent's claims. Control tower would then relay the warning to Capital Airlines pilot S.C. Pierman, who was waiting on the runway for permission to take off. Pierman reported back to control that he saw white, tailless lights moving in the sky. Pierman was reporting back to control tower as the objects flew by, and his reports matched the radar signals. The objects, which appeared to hover at times, began to make their way through D.C., flying over the Capitol building, then the White House, essentially taking an unguided tour of the nation's capital. The objects were gone by sunrise. A week later, on July 26th, a National Airlines flight coming into the National Airport reported weird lights above the plane. Andrews Air Force Base observed the new objects on radar, but would not allow the press to photograph the radar screens for security purposes. The Air Force ultimately classified the DC sightings as an example of misidentified aerial phenomena, such as asteroids or meteorites. Many Air Force officers on base and in the towers who witnessed these events later said that they did not at all agree with the official report. Number 3. Chicago O'Hare Airport Saucer. On November 7, 2006, just before dusk, the Chicago O'Hare International Airport had an unknown visitor. According to the report, 12 airline employees noticed an odd metallic saucer hovering over gate C-17. Witnesses described the object as up to 24 feet in diameter and gray in color. United Airlines Flight 446 was about to depart for Charlotte, North Carolina, when a ramp employee noticed an odd object hovering above their airplane. The pilots and mechanics also witnessed the saucer-like object. Although the air traffic control did not report anything on radar, several independent witnesses outside the airport said they saw the object too. After hovering around the gate for about 5 minutes, witnesses say the UFO shot straight up and through the clouds, leaving a clear blue hole in the cloud, which closed shortly after. The incident drew heavy media attention, as CNN, CBS, MSNBC, and Fox News all picked up the story. The Federal Aviation Administration dismissed it as weather phenomena, and no investigation was ever performed by any government agency. This decision has gained a lot of criticism. If there is an aircraft hovering around an international airport completely undetected by radar, wouldn't there be a serious threat to national security? And with so many credible witnesses reporting the object, why not look into it? Number 2, the disappearance of Frederick Valentich. 20-year-old Frederick Valentich disappeared while on a 235-kilometer training flight in a Cessna 182L light aircraft over Bass Strait, Australia on the 21st of October 1978. Valentich radioed Melbourne Air Traffic Control that he was being accompanied by an aircraft about 300 meters above him, and the engine had begun running roughly. He finally reported, "It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft." What follows is the actual transcript of his conversation with air traffic control.
Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. Is there any known traffic below 5,000? Delta Sierra Juliet, no known traffic. Seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000. Delta Sierra Juliet, roger. And it is a large aircraft, confirm? Unknown due to the speed it's traveling. Can you describe the aircraft? As it's flying past, it's a long shape. Cannot identify more than that. It seems like it's stationary.
The word was garbled here, but the author, Richard F. Haynes, USA, has determined that this word should be chasing me, based on special filtering.
It's got a green light, and sort of metallic, like it's all shiny on the inside.
Here, the microphone remained open for 3 seconds.
It's just vanished. Delta Sierra Juliet, confirm the aircraft just vanished. Say again? Delta Sierra Juliet, is the aircraft still with you? The engine is rough idling. Delta Sierra Juliet, roger. What are your intentions? To go to King Island. Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering on top of me again. It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft. Delta Sierra Juliet.
Here, the microphone remained open for 17 seconds. During this time, a very strange pulsed noise is also audible during this transmission. A massive search and rescue went on for 4 days, covering 1,000 square miles with absolutely no sign of Valentich or the Cessna 182L he was piloting. In the 42 years since the plane went missing, no wreckage has ever been recovered, except for an unconfirmed cowl flap that could have belonged to any Cessna 182. Due to his fascination with UFOs and being a self-described flying saucer enthusiast, some theorize that Valentich could have staged his disappearance to make it look like a UFO abduction, although no evidence suggests this is true. Many independent investigations have been performed, even as recent as 2013, all giving no real answer to what happened to Frederick Valentich over the Bass Strait. And number 1, Phoenix Lights. Number 1 on the list is considered to be the largest mass UFO sighting in modern history. On March 13, 1997, residents in Arizona, Nevada, and parts of Mexico witnessed a series of unexplained events that would forever be immortalized by UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. It started around 8:15 p.m. in Paulden, Arizona, when a retired police officer reported a cluster of orange lights flying close together in a southeasterly direction. A few minutes later, the Prescott Valley started flooding the lines with reports of the same cluster moving slowly through the sky. Residents reported that the light cluster was in fact one solid object, the size of a Boeing 747, in the shape of a V, with object moving the direction the point of the V was facing. Many reports say the object traveled at a low altitude and sounded like rushing wind when it passed by. The object moved into the Phoenix Metro around 8:30 p.m., with reports first coming in from Glendale, located on the northwest side of the city. All reports had the same general description of the aircraft, although it had positioned itself above the clouds at a much higher altitude. As the object passed over Phoenix, phone calls began to pour in. From the outskirts of Phoenix, sightings and reports suggest the large mass followed Interstate 10 southeasterly down to Tucson, Arizona, around 115 miles away at approximately 8:45 p.m. The second event, which was documented by several cameras throughout the city, occurred over the city of Phoenix around 10 p.m. that same night. Several giant orbs illuminated the sky and aligned perfectly to form an arc pattern, as if they were attached to the edge of a ship. The lights appeared one at a time, then disappeared behind the Sierra Estrella mountain range just south of Phoenix. The military officially stated that these lights were nothing more than flares dropped from an A-10 Warthog. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of the Phoenix Lights incident is a specific eyewitness report that was not initially reported. Arizona Governor Fife Symington III, who held a lighthearted press conference the next day by marching his aide on stage in an alien costume. It was exactly 10 years later, when Symington was no longer a public official, that he would claim that he saw the enormous object that night. He said, "I'm a pilot, and I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything I've ever seen. It remains a great mystery. Other people saw it. Responsible people." He also claimed to have talked to the commander of the Luke Air Force Base, and they had no answers for him, putting doubt on the initial claim of military flares.